experience in being a high-level corporate executive. When I tell you this is the guy that can determine the destiny of an employee at a major Fortune 500 company. This gentleman has hired people all over the world. They fly him from one continent to the next, put him up in five-star hotels, pay all of his expenses, pays him large sums of money to run massive companies. And he made this statement to me. He said, you know what, man? He said, I love what I do. I love the money I make. He said, I'm financially secure. He said, but you have something I don't have. Freedom. Freedom. I asked him one time, I said, man, I'm making some good money in Karatbars. I want to diversify my portfolio. What do you think about stocks? He said, why? He showed me a life insurance policy, whole life insurance policy. I called him up. I don't make financial moves without at least talking to him. I said, you know, I'm thinking about this whole life policy and letting it go. And, you know, this is how much gold I have and this is how much money the business is making. He said, man, let that go and put that money in gold. What financial advisor tells you to stop making money for them and to put your money in gold? That's the kind of caliber of individual that Mr. Alan Austin Jr. is. So put your hands together, stand on your feet, and welcome to the stage, Mr. Alan Austin Jr.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. That's my jam right there. It's hard to hear that groove and not leave. You know, get the shoulders going in. Hey, hold on. It's going down. All right. I'm embarrassed.
Watch out now.
I still got to drive back to Atlanta. They're going to give me a hard time the whole time I'm trying to drive back to Atlanta. Let me just say a big thank you to Cheryl Ann Gober for obviously the invite here. It's an absolute honor and privilege to be here to speak to you today. Big shout out to the Wealth Builders Worldwide team of Atlanta, my business partner, Mr. Michael Dalto as well. Let me just start by, Michael obviously introduces me as his financial advisor, but there's not a lot of people that know actually who I am and what I do. So before I speak, I'd like to take just a few minutes to kind of give you a little bit of background about myself. Is that okay? All right, so I spent a little over 20 years in the corporate America environment, leading large multinational organizations for companies that you guys have probably heard of. People like AT&T. I spent about 12 years with Coca-Cola leading their global parts department. After Coca-Cola, I spent somewhere in the range of 7.5 to 8 years with United Health Group leading their global customer operations with offices around the world. I'm currently employed by a multi-billion-dollar financial services organization leading their global operations team. Okay? And so Michael's right. I'm responsible for thousands of people around the world. My background is business operations with a concentration in business development and finance. I'm a certified project manager. So most of the time what I do globally is to build businesses in other countries for the companies based in the U.S. I'm also a certified professional business coach with a certification from the University of Glasgow. I'm a licensed life insurance and health insurance agent, partnered through Diamond & Ivy LLC with companies like MetLife, New York Life, and Ohio National. And I'm also a Karatbars affiliate. So here's the reason that I wanted to kind of run through that battery of accomplishments, if you will. Number one, you need to understand that the individual talking to you today has some experience, right? And I said this in Atlanta, if you need your roof fixed, you don't call a mechanic, right? If you need to learn something about money, you would want to speak to somebody that has some background. Does that make sense? Yeah. Number two, most people would look at somebody like me and what would be considered as, a high net worth individual and would avoid having a conversation with me because you assume that I have everything I need. You don't know what I need, right? Had it not been for my friend Michael Dalto, I wouldn't have known anything about Karatbars. So while you're assuming that because I've got a great job, great pay, I've got it made, Michael's free and I'm still exchanging time for dollars.
Come on. You already teaching.
Right? Right? And the last reason I mention that is because out of all the things that I list in my battery of accomplishments, the only thing that would guarantee me financial freedom It's Karatbars. You guys got that?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. Which one do I do? I always like to start my presentations with a little icebreaker. You guys are going to like this. Is this okay? Let me get a couple of volunteers. You want to come up, Dr. Patrice? Come on up, Dwayne. Dr. Tim, come on, I'm going to get you to do this one also. All right? This is an exercise in communication. So I'm going to get you guys to grab a sheet of paper. Okay? I'm going to try to step out of the way if I can. Maybe I'll just step down here. How's that? All right? So, guys, I want you to close your eyes for me. And I want you to follow these instructions. You ready? Okay, I want you to take the sheet of paper that's in your hand and fold it in half. Okay? I want you to take the right corner of the sheet of paper and tear it off. With that sheet of paper, the piece that you've teared off in your pocket so that you don't litter here in the house of the Lord. I want you to fold that sheet of paper now and fold it in half again. Okay? Now, take the left corner of that sheet and tear it in half. Okay? Put that piece in your pocket. Fold it in half one more time. Okay? Now take the right corner of that sheet and tear it off. All right, that last piece you can put it in your box. Dr. Patrice over here literally. All right, now I want you to open the sheet of paper and show the audience what you have. If I can get mine open. You guys see this? Can you guys see this? All right. What's the moral of the story? Everybody heard the same information. We all interpret it differently. Okay? Now here's why that's important for Karatbars, for a couple of reasons. You guys can take a seat. Thank you. Here's why that's important for Karatbars. People think that you can hear the Karatbars message one time and go out and get it. You can't. Right? Information or communication requires a relationship with the information. So there has to be constant dialogue. All business is people business. So if you're expecting to be successful in Karatbars and not connect, you have already failed. Here's the other piece of that business. I'm the leader giving the instructions. And I am watching my team fail.
Wow.
And I have not engaged them.
Wow.
Here's the job of the team member. They saw that they were off from what the expectation was. And nobody asked a question. I said fold the paper in half. What one question could they have asked? Should we do it horizontally? Right? Which way? Right? So that's the problem that most of us face when we're trying to build a business. Whether that is a professional sort of business where you're a leader in an organization, or you're doing a network marketing business. You will fail if you don't connect with your people. You will fail if you don't ask questions, because you might need to course correct at some point. And you will fail if you don't engage and try to lead your folks. Wasn't that good?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. There's a standard question that most people come to ask me when they want to learn and talk about money. And I try to give them, my foundational principles for understanding what money is and how to handle it. Number one is you got to keep it simple. You have to keep it simple. At the end of the day, I can sit here and give you complex financial concepts, but it'll just go over you. You won't understand it, not because you are ignorant, but because the financial system is not set up for you to understand what's happening. How many of you have a 401k? How many of you seen the prospectus on your 401k? About 45, 50 pages. How many of you understand all the fees in your 401k? That's on purpose. You're not meant to understand it. So when I have people coming to talk to me about money, I'm not going to spend 45 minutes trying to give them some complex scenario about what money is, because at the end of the day, all financial decisions are either one side of an equation. It's about assets and liabilities. It's about debits and credits. You are either building wealth or you are depreciating your wealth. So every decision that you make is going to fall on one side of those. It's really that simple. right? So you have to keep it simple when you're making financial decisions. Number two, and this is what I guess I've been known for, my moniker, it's not emotional, it's math. It is not emotional, it's math. If you run the numbers, you will feel confident that the decision that you're making is based on math and not emotion. Here's a perfect example. There's a wonderful house that I want to go purchase, and the mortgage is going to cost me $3,000 a month for the house, but I make $4,000 a month. But I love the house. So now I get the house and I'm spending $3,000 a month on the mortgage, and I haven't paid the light bill, I haven't paid the gas bill, I ain't bought milk for the baby, right? Cable, I ain't done anything. Can't take my wife to the movies. I'm washing my drawers by my hands. But I love the house.
Yeah.
I love the house. It's not emotional. It's math, right? 1 + 1 has to equal 2, right? If you get 6 when you add 1 +, there's something wrong. There's something wrong, right? Here's the next one. There's a difference between saving and investing. One's not better than the other. You just need to understand which one you're doing. Okay? Webster's defines saving as preserving something from destruction. Right? Investing, you got to put something at risk for the hope of a return. Hope is not a strategy for wealth building. It just isn't. Right? You could save or invest, your choice. You just need to understand which one you're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's quiet in the house.
Listening.
Learning? Okay, good. All right? And here's the other truth, right? The truth is hidden in plain sight. There is nothing that I'm going to tell you today that's a secret. It's all public information. Here's what's crazy. We were having this conversation with the folks in Atlanta about, cash being a depreciating asset. Everybody knows that. Since Nixon took us off the gold standard, the dollar's lost approximately 97% of its value. That's no secret, right? Here's what's crazy. Everybody knows the difference between assets and liabilities, right? Yes? Pluses and minuses, right? If you go to the Federal Reserve website, the biggest liability on their books are Federal Reserve notes. Liabilities. Liabilities, by their very nature, depreciate wealth. And they call the dollars in your pocket a wealth-depreciating tool.
Come on. Come on.
What are you holding it for? What are you holding it for? Here's the really cool thing about what we do. We get to take monopoly money and exchange it for real money. That's the benefit of doing what we do in Care Partners. Alright? I can't really read this, but I know exactly what it says. So here's another truth that's kind of hidden in plain sight. Federal Reserve banks, right? The entities that print monies for their countries, all store gold.
Say that again.
They store gold.
What?
They store gold as insurance in the event of a financial catastrophe. Banks that print currency hold gold.
Wow.
Let that sit on you for a little bit.
Yeah.
I can see it, I can feel it. I'm going, what is he saying? I'm saying exactly what I'm saying. The folks that are printing the money that you buy your food with laugh at you while they're holding gold. That's dangerous. That's crazy. That is crazy. Alright? So here's what it is. Saving in gold must not be optional for you. It can't be something that you think you should do. You have to know you need to do this. You have to know you need to buy gold, right? Why is that the case? Because conventional ways of saving do not work. They do not work. Here are the 3 most common savings methods that most people use, right? Most people, when you talk about wanting to go save money, they think about these 3 methods. Saving in a savings account. Well, here's the issue that I have with savings accounts. According to the FDIC, their report in March 2007 said the national average for interest earned in savings accounts was 0.06%. 0.06%. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wells Fargo, the organization that Mr. Dalco used to work for, paid people a whopping 0.01%.
Come on.
That means with $10,000 in your savings account, even with compound interest over 10 years, you would earn $9.
In 10 years.
And that's not even adjusted for inflation.
Oh my God. Come on now.
I had some money in this is crazy. I had money in a savings account, and the bank sent me a statement, and it had interest income of 3 cents. Yeah, I said, you could have saved the paper. You could have just called me and told me I had earned 3 cents. What are you talking about? The paper costs more than 3 cents.
Right.
The stamp is 20-something cents.
Right.
What are you Absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. Can you imagine that? Anybody got a calculator? Take out your phone. You might do this for me real quick, right? I got $100, right? Interest rate is 5%, right? Take 72 divided by 5. How much is that? It'll take me 14.4 years to double my $100 at 5% interest. And I'm just telling you, they're paying 0.01. It'll take me 14 years to double $100 in the bank at 5% interest.
Wow.
And they're paying you 0.01. You should be... Remember what I said? It's not emotional.
It's math.
It's math. It becomes a math decision for you. Right? Here's the next one. CDs. Right? So you can get CDs in 1, 3, and 5-year options. The 5-year CDs are paying you about 2%. Well, if inflation is 2%, how much did you make? 2 minus 2 is what? And I locked my money away for 5 years and earned nothing. Not emotional. It's math. Alright? And here's what's crazy. The growth in your CDs gets taxed. So you just tax me on what I lost. And I'm not even taxed at capital gains. I'm taxed at regular income.
Yeah.
Regular income rate is higher than capital gains. So I got 0, and you taxed me on the 2% that I would have had inflation not been there. And you locked my money away for 5 years. Anybody getting angry? Should make you angry.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the next most popular option that people consider. They consider 401ks, and I was one of the folks that have a 401k. Anybody have a 401k? All right, get rid of it. Get rid of it. All right. And I'm not anti. And I said this in Atlanta. I'm not anti the stock market because you can make a lot of money in the stock market. I'm just anti putting your life savings in the stock market because that's not where you save. That's where you invest. All right. Can you afford to lose your life savings? Then why put it in an environment that is rife with crashes historically? You can Google U.S. stock market crashes, and you'll find a litany of market crashes that have happened over the since the market's been in existence. I call stock market crashes wealth transfers. Because the money doesn't leave the market. You got winners and you got losers. Here's the crazy thing. For somebody to win in the stock market, somebody else has to lose. And Karatbars, nobody loses. Every transaction is a winning transaction. Look, the person 1,500 people down from me gets $1,000, and everybody gets a unit. Everybody. Everybody. That person got gold, I got units, company made money, and it just keeps going. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. All right? Here's a big reason why I'm not necessarily a proponent of the stock market crashes, because there have been a few. So here's one of the ones that I want to share with you. That one saying like my eyes are bad. So this one is Black Monday. So October 19th, 1987. This is Black Monday. All right? The stock market lost $500 billion in one day. 500 billion in one day. Transfer. Some people were happy, other people were jumping off bridges. 500 billion. All right? Everybody remember the tech bubble? All right? NASDAQ lost 78% of its value. 78% of its value lost. If you had your savings in a bank, you had $100 in the bank, and you went to the bank and the banker said, we lost 78%, all we have is $22 for it. I was called Pookie and them like, you gotta go to the bank. Because they're tripping. The bank is tripping right now. They lost 78% of my money. Yet people voluntarily do that in their 401ks. That's crazy. That's crazy. Everybody remembers the housing bubble, right? 2008. Market lost 58% of its value in that 2-year period. 58% of its value. Absolutely ridiculous. I was one of them. I lost a ton of money in the stock market when the market crashed. I was fortunate in that that was money that I had invested and not my life savings. I know people that lost everything. Ask the people that were ready to retire in 2008 when you go to Walmart.
Come on.
Ask them. Right? There were people that were ready to retire in 2008 talking about, I need to work another 10 years. Ridiculous. It's got to get beyond emotion. You got to get beyond thinking about whether you need to think differently about money and follow math. It's all a numbers game. Alright? So most financial professionals will tell you, well, you need to keep your money in the stock market. Why would you even do that after what I just shared with you? You could leave right now and have gotten your money's worth. Why would anybody consider leaving all of their money in an environment that is rife with corruption? Did you guys know that, I heard somebody talking about gold and silver manipulation. You guys heard a couple of years ago, JP Morgan was being sued for massive price manipulation on the silver market. And I think they tried to throw the case out, and the judge came back and said, no, we're not going to. I know you got popular, big money friends in the legal system that are trying to keep you from getting in trouble, but we're going to put this back in. You're not going to get away with this. Why would I have my life savings in an environment where they're just playing checkers and chess? I can't do that. I would much rather hustle my own money.
All right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's, and I'm going to need to come over here if you don't mind. I'm going to walk you guys through this example around, kind of why I'm sort of anti-stock market, right? So let's say John comes into the stock market and he's got $100,000 in his 401k, a combination of what he's been able to contribute and what his company's been able to contribute into his 401k, and he stops. That's all he's doing. I'm good, I'm going to let the market ride, I've got $100,000 in my 401k, right? So then the tech bubble hits. And what I just explained was the tech bubble caused a 78% loss in the market. But let's just be nice here and say that he only loses 50% of his money, right? So that leaves John with $50,000, right? 100 minus 50 is what? Okay? So here's the good news. From October 2002 to October 2007, the market gained 103%. That's good news. So you ride that up wave, right? So let's be generous and say that John rode that entire gain of 103%. So now his $50,000 is at $101,500. So over the course of 7 years, he broke even. Yeah, 7 years. It took you 7 years to break even.
Wow.
Think about that. You give me $100, 7 years later, I'm going to give you $100 back. You didn't earn anything. Wow. You didn't earn anything. You earned nothing. That's what just happened. But wait, it gets better. Okay. So then the housing bubble hits. Right? The housing bubble hits, 57% of the market tanked. So now he lost 57% of his money. So now he's left with 43,000 plus. Okay? He's back down again. Now let's think about the management fees that no one ever thinks about. And here's one of the things I want to tell you about management fees in a 401k. Do you know that there are lobbyists right now, in Washington, fighting for the right to keep fees hidden?
Wow.
They are fighting for the right to keep fees hidden from your 401k. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, right? Management fees are somewhere in the range of 1.9%, but let's just say we're gonna go 0.5%. We won't even apply the full 1.9%. So he's at a 4.5. You take 9, multiply that by 0.5, you get 4.5%. Right? So over the course of that 9-year period, he's got 4.5% management fees, interest. But wait, there's inflation to add to that. So you got inflation at 2% rate per year. Right? So now, between your management fee and your inflation, you've got a 22.5% loss over the course of those 9 years. Wait, I haven't even added the fact that the market crashed in 2000 and in 2009. This 22% just in fees and inflation. Right? So now that takes you from your $100,000 starting point to $22,500. And you started with 100. Anybody mad in here? Right? By the time you add everything up, he's got $21,145. That's a 79% loss. You lost 79% in 9 years. And I haven't even taxed you yet.
Wow. Call Ray Ray.
Yeah?
Cookie right.
I haven't even taxed you yet. 79%. Here's my personal story, right? So I had $160,000 saved in a 401k account. And I benefited from that ride from 2000 to 2007 before the market crashed. After the tech bubble, right before the housing bubble, right? So I had some money and it grew to $160,000. When the housing bubble hit, in 48 hours, $100,000 of my account was transferred to somebody else. 48 hours, 2 days.
Wow.
2 days. So I called the fund manager and I said, hey, man, it's $100,000. 48 hours. You need to tell me something. Or I'm coming to see you. Right? And the answer I got was, well, you know, market crashed, everybody lost money. That's just kind of the way it is. Oh, and by the way, fees. That doesn't preclude us from collecting on the fees from you. So wait, you lost $100,000 of my money at 48 hours. And you got the gall to tell me that you're still about to charge me a fee? Where are you? You and I need to have a conversation. Right? Mike and I are getting ready to come see you. What are you talking about? That is absolutely ridiculous, right? But here's the really sweet news. In that same time period, gold went up 400%. Not emotional. It is math. Right? It is math. I don't even need to carry the one. I know a 79% loss is less than a 400% gain. No need to carry the one. Negative 71 plus 400. What are you going to do? 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 I need everybody in this room to raise their standards.
Yeah.
You have to raise your standards for yourself. And here's why. Because if you don't, you won't move. If you believe where you're at is all you deserve, that's where you stay. That's where you stay. And you deserve so much more. I'm about to get real personal with you. I can tell you this, because most people don't know that I'm, obviously the folks that are close to me. I'm originally from Panama, Central America, right? And I come from a very, very, very poor family. Very poor family. I remember, this is one of the memories that I think sort of changed the course of my life. My parents were divorced when I was 6 years old. My dad was in the military. And I remember moving back to Panama with my mom. And we stayed with my grandmother, my grandparents, and my mother had 8 or 9 brothers and sisters. So there were 11 of us really in this one room. It was just a room. I can't say anything beyond a room. It was a room. There was one window. We didn't even have our own. We literally shared an outhouse with 3 other families. I literally remember having to bring the toilet seat because we didn't want to share toilet seats.
Wow.
And I remember sitting at the table with my grandpa. I remember sitting at the table with my grandpa, and he could put his feet under the table and touch the TV, and reach behind him and touch the sink. And there were 2 twin beds. And at night, we would pile on top of the bed, sleep under the bed. And my grandfather would sleep in his chair. He couldn't even, we didn't have enough room for him. You got to get to a place in your life where you are is not good enough.
Come on, man.
Because if you don't, you won't move. You won't move. My motivation became, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live like that. And if somebody like me can come from another country, not even speaking the language, Spanish is my first language, and put forth the effort to make a life for myself, what excuse do you have? You have no right to be where you are. There are people depending on you to win.
Yes.
There are people depending on you to win. You have to win.
Wow.
It's got to get beyond knowledge. I shared with you a lot of information today. I tried to make it as simple as I possibly could. But unless you get to a place where you take action, it's just information. Right? It's just information. If you don't do anything with it, you'll be right where you are next year. You'll be making the same New Year's resolution every year. Going in circles. Right? You got to get beyond, I should do it. I should eat healthy. I should get rid of these negative people in my life. I should make a different decision with my money. I should leave this job and go do something else. People should all over themselves. You should all over yourself. Right? But it's got to get to must. You got to move from should to must.
Wow.
I could have stayed where I was. But for me to be where I knew I needed to be, it had to be transferred to must. I must do everything I can to get out of here. How many of you are parents in here? All right? Should you take care of your kids? Or must you?
Must take care of them. Must.
You don't have an option. No one even has to ask you. That parent gene kicks in, and you do whatever you need to do to make sure that Johnny has food on the table, clothes on his back, shoes on his feet, and you feel good about it. How dare you stay where you are? Johnny needs you. Johnny needs you. We need you. There are people that need you that don't even know you.
Come on. Come on.
All right?
Yeah.
There are people that I have touched because of who I am that have never met me because I've influenced somebody else.
Yeah. That's
They
good.
don't even know that they got touched by me.
That's right. Right. Wow. That's powerful.
The really cool thing about the work that I do in corporate America is because I'm awake, consciously awake,
Yeah.
right? And I recognize my responsibility as a man of God.
All right.
I have a unique opportunity to influence people in a way that makes them make positive decisions for themselves in their careers, but that translate beyond their careers. All business is people business,
Yeah. Yeah.
irrespective of the product. All business is people business. And so I move that way. And when you understand that, success is inevitable. So move from should to must, right? Because here's the reality. You don't get what you want, you get what you tolerate. I could have stayed in Panama, having to wash my underwear by hand. I remember my grandmother giving me $1 to go get 10 cents of milk, or 10 cents of eggs, and 15 cents worth of cheese, and 15 cents worth of bread to try to come feed 11 people. I could have tolerated that. I could have tolerated that. I chose not to. I said this in Atlanta. I said, I make more money than most people pay in taxes. But that's not the issue. That means absolutely nothing. Save this one thing. I chose to make a decision that would impact my life positively and impact the lives of the people that are close to me positively. Money's a byproduct of that. The money's a byproduct. I wasn't chasing money. I was chasing a better life. This conversation went so far left. I wouldn't even try to go there, but I just felt somebody needed to hear that.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
So here are 3 things that you must do to be successful right now, specifically as it relates to your financial life. You have to save money. You have to save money. You have to save money. And it can't be just putting your money in a savings account or putting it at risk in a 401k. You've got to put it in a vehicle that allows you an opportunity to outpace inflation. Right? If I take my $100 and put it in Wells Fargo and I'm only earning 0.01% and inflation is 2%, I lost. And by the way, if you didn't know this, interest income even in the bank gets taxed. You should get a statement if you earn interest in the bank. That 3 cents that they sent me, I get a tax form for that. I'm going to call them and say, Keith, don't send me a statement with 3 cents.
Right.
I can't even go to the ATM and get that out. What are you talking about? Right? You got to put your money in an asset that appreciates greater than inflation. You'll be hard pressed to find anything better than gold. Gold has thousands of years of track record of being a hedge against inflation. Don't take my word for it. Look at the banks that are storing. The people that print your money are getting gold.
Right.
So don't do what they say. Do what they do. Right? Here's the next thing. You have to reduce expenses. You got to find a way to reduce expenses. Those of you that have a job, I guarantee you your biggest expense is taxes. Uncle Sam is seeing 35-40% of your money before it hits your bank account. The smartest thing you can do as a W-2 income earner is to have a home-based business. Why? Because you can start taking advantage of all the tax benefits. The same tax benefits that, large business owners can take advantage of. you can start taking advantage of the same thing. What better business than to have a home-based business where the requirement is that you save money? You knock out number one and number two. Carrot bars is the bomb.
Yes.
It's the
Yes.
bomb. Right? And the last thing, you got to get connected to a system. You got to find a way to earn money while you sleep. That's the only way to do it. You got to find a way to duplicate yourself. Because if you're still trading time for dollars, once you stop, the money stops. All right? So here's your homework assignment. Get financially educated.
Yeah.
I'm assuming everybody here is an affiliate, right? And one of the things that I said is it's got to get from should to must. The only way that you'll kind of get that in your spirit is that if you get the information to arm yourself with the truth about what's happening in your financial world. Get financially educated. Okay? And when you do, get connected to a system. Carrot Bars is a system that will spit out gold and money.
Yeah.
Gold and currency.
Yes.
I wish they would pay me gold and currency at my job. Alright? And lastly, immediately start saving gold. Don't think about it. Everybody here is on autosave, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Talk to everybody you know about putting gold aside. Take it from somebody who's in the financial world every single day. Get gold now. Get gold now. And the theme that you heard from us at Wealth Builders, all we do, save a lot of gold, sell a lot of people, make a lot of money. Thank you guys.